And oh, and hello. I thought I turned repeat off. This is Monster Maverick, and I'm Gimmick Spadden, your host. As always, I will try to slow down a little bit because some people don't talk as fast as people who grew up in the Northeast. Um, so yeah, this is the Monster Maverick Show, all of things Splinterlands. We're gonna have a couple interesting things going on today or tonight, wherever you are. We're gonna have a couple different segments. So we're gonna have Crypto Eater on, hopefully. I see he's here in the audience, talking about his proposal for dark energy crystals and cards and all kinds of interesting things. And we're gonna have some news updates. We're gonna review the market, deck, all that kind of stuff, and special premiere, I guess, of some new music in the Splinterlands world. So, what I'm going to do is I am going to drag on Crypto Eater and see if this actually works. Let's see. Let's do. Okay, so Crypto Eater, you are on the air.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Perfect. All right. So, my name is Cryptida. Actually, most people in my real life know me as Simon, and that's my real name. This is the first time I've ever been on air, and the first time anyone has actually heard my voice on Steam. So that's pretty cool.
Well, welcome.
And yeah, thank you. So, today I've actually asked Neil if I could join you guys to talk a bit about a proposal I've had. And before we do go on, I just wanted to let you guys know that I've actually suggested this to Matt probably like 5 times in the past 12 months, and he's turned me down every time. But recently he said if we can get enough support from the community, maybe he'll actually consider it. And some of you might have actually heard of this proposal earlier. So let me just link you an article I wrote like 2 months ago.
Yeah, I already posted it there, but
Oh, you did?
yeah.
Perfect. Oh, yeah, there it is. Cool. All right. Hey, Matt.
So walk us through.
All right. So this suggestion I had basically involves letting players burn DECs or decks, as you guys call it, and this can actually allow you to uncombine cards at a rate of, let's say, like 90% of the BCX you would have got to combine it. So if you have like 100 BCX card, you can uncombine it and you get 90 BCX worth of singles plus you burn DECs. And I feel like this is actually a very important development in the market and in like overall game economics as a whole. So some of the problems that this addresses is mainly towards it's catered towards a lot of new players and also the very old players like myself and yourself. I'm sure we have a bunch of like combined cards, max level alphas, max
Mm-hmm.
level betas, and at the moment there simply just isn't enough market liquidity to get rid of any of this. So a lot of the times I've been buying decks for, let's say, 65% off market value simply because they just can't be bothered waiting. And I think that's a real problem for old players and new players alike. So if you're somebody who's just starting off, you want to try, you're getting into the game, you're building up your deck slowly, you can't afford to just buy a max level card.
Mm-hmm.
But you can afford to buy like one BCX at a time, and often, especially on like alpha markets or like reward cards that aren't actually getting produced anymore, a lot of the time it's like double or even triple the price of lowest BCX. And when you combine it, you're simply giving up like 60 to 70% of the value just by combining it. And it feels like a loss situation. Right now, for Untamed, I'm holding a bunch of single BCX cards because I know that if I combine them, they're instantly worth a lot less. But at the same time, I want to play with like Untamed cards,
Mm-hmm.
and but I don't want to buy any either. And it just feels like a loss situation to me. It's like if I combine it, I lose value, but I get to use it. And if I don't combine it, I retain the value, but I don't get to use any of my cards. So like, what do
Right.
I do?
Yeah.
And not gonna lie, that feels kind of, it's not something I want to be promoting for new players, especially. And I've realized that a lot of people don't actually realize that when they combine their cards, they lose their value, or you just can't really sell them anymore.
Right. Or in
And
which case they
it's
lose
not a
hundred
good
percent.
feeling. Yeah, I feel like that's not a good feeling for new players. And if they actually kind of understand this concept a bit more, they're not going to be inclined to buy any of the new cards unless they're big spenders who can just afford to buy like a max level card straight away.
Mm-hmm.
And in most cases, I'm not sure what you guys feel, but personally, I prefer to have like a lot of smaller players rather than just a few big investors. And I think this is really like epitomized by J6969's impact on this game. And his yeah, so that's basically the rationale behind it. And the second bit of this is to help with existing players or older players like myself. And yeah, let me know if I'm talking too fast as well.
You are a little
Yeah,
fast, but you seem
yeah, I think I
excited.
realized that. I am. First time talking on air. This is very exciting. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, but yeah, so exactly as Claiborne is saying, I don't know if that's how you pronounce that, but um, like with I realize he's talking about Gods Unchained, but even with Splinterlands cards, you can't sell them at like max level a lot of the times. I've had cards on market for 3 months and it just gets consistently undercut. And even I've had cards under like 20% under market price for a whole week with no one undercutting it, but no one buys it either. So it becomes a real liquidity problem for older players as well.
Mhm.
I'm sure that many of us, if we had the opportunity to, we would we would be more than happy to burn, let's say, 10% of the BCX so we can get the remainder as like single BCX cards. And this way, this can actually improve the liquidity a lot. I feel like this would bring a lot more volume onto the market, and because there'll be more people who actually want to buy it at a lower price. So right now, let's say the single BCX Alpha like Tyruses, I think are like, let me just check. I think it was like $3 or something, and the normal BCX, so like the combined ones were a dollar something. And no one wants to spend $3, but no one can afford to buy a max level one at the same time. So if we can let people uncombine the max levels into single BCXs and sell them at something similar to the current lowest per BCX price, I feel like that could bring a lot more volume into the market as well, and also increase a lot more scarcity because I'm sure that people will build up their decks. Many people will quit and they can't sell it at max level, so they'll just uncombine everything. Bam, that's 10% of the supply gone, like of his deck pretty much instantly, and he burns DECs and he burns supply. So I think it creates kind of like a better economy overall. It creates more scarcity, and that was one of the main arguments Matt had. He says that since they're NFTs and since that they said that they when you combine it, you can't actually undo it. Like it's kind of like going against what they were saying, which I truly understand as well.
Mhm.
But I feel like what we gain from allowing this feature to be implemented does actually bring a lot more benefits. And of course, there will be certain stakeholders who will be losing out more than others, and certain stakeholders will be benefiting more from others. If you're someone who holds a lot of packs, for example, I'm currently holding about 1,300 alpha packs and over 2,000 beta packs. If you're holding packs, I do suspect that the price of these packs will go down since I guess the main incentive of these things is that you get single BCX cards, which are worth a lot more than the combined ones. And so that's something that I can like, fair enough if Matt thinks if people are going to be upset about that and it's not worth it, then I guess that is fair. And also people who have been just collecting single BCX cards purely based on the fact that they know they will be worth a lot more than the combined ones. So I guess the main point of today, of coming on to air today, is explaining that idea and also getting some opinions from you guys. What do you guys think of it? Like, do you think that the benefits will outweigh the potential negatives, or like any other suggestions that may help this idea become something that Matt might actually want to implement? Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a couple questions for you.
Yep.
So, I've read your post a couple times. I'm still a little bit confused. Are you saying
Yep.
so? You burn dark energy crystals, and let's say you have 100 BCX card. You
Yep.
burn you burn however many dark energy crystals. That's equal to 10% of that total, and also you end up with fewer BCX as singles.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. So the BC, like the DEC burn ratio or like the deck burn ratio, I'm not too sure. So that things like those can actually be altered,
Mm,
tweaked, and optimized based on like whatever formulas you guys want to use, just
right.
to make sure that it doesn't cost too much to burn. But of course, it also increases the supply. Increases the demand and utility of decks at like a proportional rate, I guess. So it's not
Right.
just like free, burning. Of course, by uncombining it, you do lose 10% of the BCX, which of course increases the scarcity as well.
Right. But you're paying both ways. You're paying in BCX and you are paying in dark energy crystals.
That's correct.
Okay.
So you're sacrificing both, so it's increasing the scarcity for both. But
Right.
I'm still, I feel like there will still be a lot of users who would like to use this feature.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I tend to agree that having a wider base is more important than the few whales. So like Matt Clark
Yep.
here, says he's got cards he plays with that are combined, cards that he buys to rent out, strategically combined mid-level, and cards he has as singles to speculate on selling at a markup down the road. So, but Matt's got like whatever, like 70% of the alpha flesh golems. He's a whale, so he can afford to do that kind of stuff. I've got however many cards, I don't even know. But I'm it's weird to say that I'm a whale, but I am a whale in at least in Splinterlands. Um,
Yep.
and I early on I had a combined problem where I had speculated that each different level was going to be useful. So I had like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 of all the different cards. And then when the actual gameplay came out, then that wasn't useful at all. So I ended up going back and buying a bunch of alphas to max out a bunch, but I still got some stragglers out there um, to what do you call it? Uh, that are just kind of in a no man's land. Um, but yeah, I mean, you know, for someone who's holding alphas, that's kind of interesting because you do get the Dark Energy Crystal bonus from battles for using alphas, but does it outweigh the fact that you can't really sell them? And I don't know about that. But it's not an option at the moment, so that would be interesting. Um, so let's see, trade off. Yeah, so there's always a trade off to everything. I think we can agree on that. As far as the immutability aspect, I can see Matt's point, or yeah,
Yeah,
but Matt's point,
exactly.
but on the other hand, it's not like you're reversing a transaction. It would be a new transaction. So I don't think there would be any logical issue there. It's just like if you have a squadron of soldiers in some other game and you break them up into individual guys going different places, then I think
Yeah,
that
exactly.
that could make sense on some kind of level, and that could be worked into the lore. Um, I think without too much trouble. We got a few
That's
lore
true as
people in
well.
here. We got Izaria. Let's see who else is working on lore. Is Carrie Allen in here still? Looks like no. Um, so yeah, I'd be curious what people's opinions are on this idea. And obviously the percentages can change, whether it's 10% or 15% or fifty
Yeah,
percent.
exactly. All of these like percentages and certain like actual like quantities are obviously not concrete. Matt has ultimate discretion to change these and go with whatever he feels it would be the best for the game's economy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like 10% is a quite a fair ratio in terms of how much DEC burn as well. I figured you could actually make that a building, for example, in your guild. The stronger the building is, the more like the less DECs it costs to burn, and if you're not in a guild, it'll just cost the base amount. So um, there's been a lot of other ideas I've had with the
Mm-hmm.
game as well, especially in terms of guilds and PvE.
Mm-hmm.
And I've spoken to Matt quite a lot in regards to these, and I think we're just not at the stage of implementing a lot of the ideas I've had since they are quite in depth. And working on guilds and guild structures, etc., and guild wars and guild raids like PvE guild raids or PvP guild wars. These two things are two concepts that I feel like using single BCX cards as well, especially for PvE, I think has a lot of utility and has like a lot of places to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you like restrict it to like PvE as like more of like a pay to win thing, max level cards doing like a whole bunch, I don't think it's that like inviting for new players.
Mm-hmm.
And I want like personally for like my vision, I want PvE for some it's like something to be more like reachable for everyone. Currently, the PvP ladder, obviously, you need to have a good deck to be able to reach the top.
Right.
Whereas for PvE, I kind of like in my mind, I want it to be something more like a campaign mode. And there's like two sections, like a campaign mode and more of like a PvP PvE section, where it's like the PvE type gameplay, where but it's like you're trying to compete for different like areas, for example, like control of different continents or lands or whatever when lands and stuff actually come out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I think single BCX cards can be like incorporated into all of these features a lot, and of course, bringing a new structure into guilds like now or soon might also just increase incentive for players to want to join higher level guilds, and also increase the utility and demand for DECs, which I can see Splinterlands are trying to actively drive up at the moment, which
Right.
I'm sure you'll talk about soon.
Yep. I got a chart ready.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Like every time I sell a bit, it just goes up again the next day. I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm in favor of of things that will increase utility of dark energy crystals, and that will increase potential new players. Um,
Yep.
so I can see how that would be attractive. So like if we just imagine, let's say that this all comes to pass, and a bunch
Yep.
of people holding old combined cards decombine. Like if we move to Hive, and all the Korean players dump, then there's going to be a huge number of
Yeah.
cards coming on the market.
Yep.
Um, so let's say those all decombine, and all these 1BCX cards are available, pushing down prices. So that makes it obviously cheaper for for a new player to get in, versus what the non, if this didn't happen, case would be. So that's attractive.
Yep.
But also, I mean, at the moment, there's not much new activity going on, regardless. So I don't know how important that will be.
That's true as well. I feel like it might not be top priority to get this done, but before we get an influx of new players, it is something to consider. Like if we have a bunch of new players come in first and then they see the card prices, I doubt that will make them want to stay. And personally, I feel like first impressions matter a lot. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you see a game and you're just like, probably not for me, and if you keep seeing more promotions for it, you're never really going to come back. Whereas if you see like promotions for something, but you never actually view it or check it out, and then one day you're like, hey, maybe I'll give this a go, and you see that it is pretty cool, and you see the card prices and stuff are all pretty like legit, I feel like that would bring more like people to stay and actually want to play the game. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand. Like they might balk at the prices if they're
Yeah,
high, but on the flip side, they might say, "Hey, I could get cards that are worth a lot of money." So
that's true as well. Yeah. And like just building on the new player thing, I think the main thing is about progression. I know people like the I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the guy who likes cats. Yeah, I think you guys probably all know who I'm talking about. Biz or Byzantinist. Yeah. Uh,
yeah, Biz.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to say that. So I feel like he's been someone who's always like been building his decks bit by bit. Like he's playing for the progression, and a lot of players I feel like want to feel that kind of progression. And with progression comes buying cards one by one. And I feel like it's kind of like a dilemma for a lot of players right now, especially players that I've introduced to the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if I buy a card and I want to use it and I want to combine it, but if I combine it, I know I lose like value.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I obviously can't gain that much value from just playing it. And obviously, playing also takes effort, etc. If I'm playing this game as a pure investment, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
then combining cards is never the way to go. And playing with one BCX cards is obviously not as fun, not as interesting, not as competitive as playing with max level cards. So your options is either to lose all your value or rent cards.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's not a very good start for a lot of new players.
Okay, I can see how that would be, like on your point about impressions. That would be an effect, because I mean the rental prices, at least right now, anyways, are dirt cheap. So
That's true.
it's
Yeah.
it's way more effective to rent cars than it is to buy them.
Yeah. Should definitely rent cars. I have so many on the market unrented.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've actually had a few rented in the past week with my new, putting everything in escrow and having no or almost no daily fee.
Oh, yeah.
So
Maybe I'll give that a go. I know Shark Monsters recently started playing again, and he rented a bunch of my max level, like legendary summoners. So that was a good boost.
well, that's good. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't have any from him, but yeah, I'm just checking my list here.
Yeah, fair enough.
So let me ask you, where in Australia are you from?
I actually live in Melbourne,
In
so I
Melbourne.
know Matt's down in Adelaide.
Yep.
And yeah, I was
I,
meant to go down to Adelaide with the missus over Easter, but lockdown, COVID-19, all that stuff kind
Yeah.
of ruined everything.
Yeah,
So just
there's
stuck
that.
at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my wife was telling me just the other day. I told Matt Clark this that she's so upset with everything that's going on in the U.S. She says that if Trump gets reelected, we should move. And first she suggested New Zealand, and then we talked about Australia. So she's like 70% sold on Australia. So
Yeah, definitely.
I was
Like
like, hey, I know
Australia's
people
great.
there.
Yeah, actually, like no. So my parents immigrated from China, and I'm like first generation born here,
Mhm.
and it's like the best decision they ever made was to move to Australia. They
Yeah,
love it here so much. Yeah,
yeah. That's a
absolutely recommend.
Adelaide's lovely. Melbourne's in Australia too. Yeah, Ron, I agree. Trump is definitely getting reelected. Biden is a basket case. But yeah, I don't know where Cope's from. I don't know where Kilkiz is from, but somewhere in that continent. Uh, but yeah, so I mean, we will definitely, throw it out to the crowd. We've got who do we have in here? We've got Alpha Chino, we've got Anjinkuro. Hope I'm saying that right. We got Clay, we got Cope, we got Crimson Clad, Azaria Kyokiz, McCursey, Patient Zero, Ron, TC Polymath, and Matt Clark. But a lot of people don't catch this show live. They watch it on
Yeah,
the replay. So yeah, we'll see what the community has to say.
yeah, that's great. Just on here to spread the word about the suggestions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely an
and
interesting
thanks for.
idea. Yeah. Yeah. So right now I'm going to put you back in the audience.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right.
Take
Bye.
care.
Bye. All right. Kyokiz is in Tassie. All right. I watched the show. What was the name of the show? Gourmet Farmer, about a guy who was a food critic in Sydney and moved to Tassie and started a couple farms actually, and his adventures. Yeah, looks great. Yeah, it was a great job. Thanks for coming on. I think you no. So we've had Agro, we've had Jarvie on, and now Crypto Eater. So you are in rarefied company. If you like those people, I don't know. Ag's fake news in live on air right now. So yeah, so I mean, it's an interesting idea, and I don't really have any strong objections to it. There's always going to be quibbles about percentages and whatever, um, but if you're going to watch an Aussie show, it has to be Skippy the Bush Kangaroo. Never heard of it, but we don't get much Aussie TV here in the U.S., and I don't watch much TV anyway. But yeah, so like I said, it's an interesting idea. The numbers can be played with. In fact, my first thought would be that the percentages can be dynamic depending on market activity. But it's probably more complicated than anybody would want to do. So yeah, but I will be putting out the replay of this tomorrow probably because I'm generally exhausted by the end of this and need to go to bed because it's midnight here. And then we'll see what people say. Okay, so just to reiterate, here is the link again for anybody who missed it earlier. So we'll see how it goes, and I will add that link to the show notes. So I might actually have show notes. Who knows? As a new thing, Izaria, our dear composer, put out this post the other day, and this is. So she says, I heard this sound, and it sounded like the moon. This is a new segment, by the way. So I made this song for Luna. It eventually became a quite larger production, which I'll use for another Splinterland setting, but this is the original, simplified version of Lunar Cycles. And there's a bunch of artwork in here, but I'm going to play this song because it sounds great. And let me know if you got... She's fake newsing, probably so. Hopefully you guys can hear this. Oh, let's pause that. Okay, so yeah, that is. I mean, she says that's the simple version. I imagine there's gonna be more uh, setting specific stuff on when it's actually in the game, and I don't know where in the game that's going, but I listened to it. It sounded great, so I thought I would share it. The intro music and the outro music that I use is from the. It's a piece of the main theme of the what I guess is going to be the PVE part. So, yeah, I just wanted to share. Uh, Moving on a little bit to sales and stuff. I did want to talk about the new post or new-ish post that if I can find it. Here we go. The merchant and affiliate systems update. So here's that guy. It was an official post from the Splinterlands account 10 hours ago. Ag did mention on his show just before mine that the sales volume he was pretty happy with. And we got 12,601 sales for 41.86 in dollars, and yeah, that was as of a few hours ago, so that might not be quite current. In fact, if I refresh, 12, so went down a bit, 42.27. Oh, so number of sales went down, but dollars went up. So on refresh, this is what we got. So sales volumes from people arbitraging decks or dark energy crystals. That is probably true. I have not dug into it. More than 25% is TC Polymath. All right. So, and a lot of times after season endings, we see a spike in activity there. But let's go back to the post. So, merchant and affiliate system updates. So, do I want to read this whole thing? Yeah, it's not that long. All right. So Splinterlands team, with the help of some players, has been doing a thorough review of the Dark Energy Crystal and card economy within the game, and we've identified a number of issues and potential exploits which we feel need to be addressed as soon as possible. The first area which we are going to address is the merchant and affiliate payment system, as this has not been updated in a long time despite many other changes to the broader economy. We understand that many players may not like these changes, particularly those who have been taking advantage of issues with the existing system, but ultimately a sound economy will lead to more value for everyone in the long run, and it's our job to ensure that that happens. And I agree with that statement. Since there is no API changes or any other changes as part of this update that would break any scripts or services, the following changes will go into effect immediately to avoid people rushing to take advantage of the issues before they are resolved. Now, this is in contradiction to the previously announced and re-announced pledge that there would be 7 days between announcements and changes. And I know TC Polymath was was given some what do you call it? Not satire, but some sarcasm, or I don't know, a biting comment, let's say, about how they should just scrap the 7 day policy at this point in the Maverick chat. So but I kind of understand that this, if what they say is true, that there's no API changes, nothing that breaks any scripts or services. I mean, it breaks business models, so there's that, But so T-Spawn says he's serious that if not going to follow, they should get rid of it. I do kind of understand how this is sort of a different category in their minds because it's no gameplay or anything. So it like I said, affects people's business models, not so much on the gameplay. So merchant payments. The goal of the merchant payment system was to encourage and incentivize third-party websites to promote the game to their audiences and bring in new players. The reality is that it is used almost exclusively as a way for existing players to simply get a discount on pack purchases, and hardly any new players or new value has been added to the ecosystem as a result of it. I would say that is true. Due to the above, going forward, we will no longer be offering merchant payments. Third-party sites should still be encouraged to introduce new players to the game in order to receive affiliate payments and may still earn from market fee payments and other services which add value to the ecosystem. We want to be clear that this only applies to merchant payments for booster pack and summoner spellbook sales through third-party websites. This does not affect affiliate payments or for player referrals or market fee payments for third-party marketplaces. So what they're talking about is that they got, I think it was a 5% break on pack sales if you were like a designated merchant, like I guess Peak Monsters and Monster Tools and a couple others. So and that was on top of the bulk discounts. So I know the Real Wolves system, I forget what it's called. They were offering basically they self referred and did all that, and then offered packs for cheap through their system. So that particular part is closed. So you know, does this wreck Peak Monsters' business model? I don't think so, because I mean Jarvie, who is not here, could answer this more specifically, but I think most of their revenue is from actual marketplace um, transactions. Monster markets, from what I have not personally used, but from what I understand, I do use this heavily. And like I said, the Real Wolves, I forget what it's called. They had something going. Affiliate payments updates. So affiliate payments are, so you bring somebody into the game, they use your referral code to sign up. You get, I think it's also 5% for any future packs that they buy. So that's remaining. Affiliate payments are meant to be paid out when a referred player makes a purchase in the in-game shop using an external currency, but after the recent changes, affiliate payments are being paid out for credits purchases, which are most often used to purchase cards on the market, which was not intended. As a result, going forward, affiliate payments will only be paid out when a referred player makes a purchase of the current edition of booster packs, potions, or the Summoner Spellbook. Additionally, purchases made using Dark Energy Crystal tokens will no longer be eligible for affiliate payments. So, if you referred somebody from Steam and they use Dark Energy Crystals to buy stuff, then tough luck. I assume that if you refer them, they buy in with Dark Energy Crystals, they still are a referral. And if they buy with another external currency later, then you still get an affiliate payment then. I don't see why that would be broken, but just something to be aware of. Finally, going forward, all affiliate payments will be paid out in credits, which can be used to purchase items in the in-game shop or to purchase cards from the marketplace. Yeah, so that part kind of sucks. That's it's store credit basically, and I don't know if anybody's figured out a way to liquidate that. I mean, obviously you could buy cards and then sell them, but that's difficult, and I'm sure you'll take a hit on the conversions and everything. So anytime you have a conversion of anything, you're always going to have a loss of some sort. So that part I'm definitely not a fan of, because you know if I'm Matt Clark and I go out and I do meetups and I bring people into the Splinter Alliance family, and I want to get paid. They're bringing in external money. I should get external money, just as a percentage. I think that is perfectly reasonable, and by paying in store credit, that's kind of shitty. So like Amazon was doing this with Mechanical Turk workers, and Purse.io, which is I just got an email yesterday, is actually closing now. So the people would get paid in like basically Amazon credit or Amazon gift cards, and because they couldn't spend that in their local economies, people in the Philippines or Vietnam or wherever, they would then offer their buying power on Amazon to people on through Purse, and you'd basically put up the money in Bitcoin, and you basically get a discount from Amazon. So it's anytime you're restricting the payouts of something, you are decreasing the value. So by restricting the credits for referrals, you are decreasing the value of a referral. Now, I mean, obviously, every person is different. Some people will love it, some people will hate it, some people won't care. But overall, there will be a net negative impact. So, yeah, not paying referrals on Dark Energy Crystals, that's okay, I think. Um, and then closing the credits referral, maybe kind of. I mean, um, if their intention really was just to pay out on booster packs and Summoner Spellbook, which I still mentally call starter packs, then okay. If that was always the intention, then fine. Um, but yeah, so Matt Clark says, what's good for the game is good for me. I'm fine with the affiliates, payments, and credits. And Crypto Eater is posting a message here that he sent to Yaba. Let's see. Hey, Matt, I think credit system needs work. Right now, if I buy credits with Steam, I get a 5% affiliate bonus, 2% cash back, which is 7% cash back before I even buy anything with credits. Then when I buy something with credits, I get another 2% cash back, all using Monster Market. What this basically means is if someone deposits 100 USD, Splinterlands will give off $5 to the referrer, $5 to the merchant, $2 to the player, $3 to the merchant with Monster Market. Assuming I referred myself, which most people do, I get $107 to spend on the market. Let's say I buy a card worth $107 from myself. I get $101.65 after 5% fee, and I get a 3% cash back from Monster Market. After this whole process, I get $101.65 plus 3.21 equals $104.86. Monster Market gets $3 plus $2.14 equals $5.14. Splinterlands gets paid $100 in crypto to pay out $110 with crypto. And yeah, so that's obviously a problem. And I think this would close that. So that's something. But there's always a cost. So will the decline in referrals balance out with the losses from that? And we'll see. So given that referrals are low at the moment, I think it probably will. And then there's final section here, a card giveaway promotion. To further encourage players to refer new people to the game, we're implementing a new card giveaway promotion. Whenever a referral purchases the Summoner Spellbook in the game, both the new player and the referring account will receive a random card from the collection of the SL Giveaways account. And I will take a look at that in just a second. We have purchased a large number of Untamed Edition cards from the market in this account, including legendary cards, gold foil cards, and even some gold foil legendaries. Each time one of your referrals purchases the Summoner Spellbook, both you and they will receive one randomly chosen card from that account, and it could be a GFL. And then they updated the design of the affiliate thing. And in summary, these changes are intended to reduce exploitation of the Dark Energy Crystal economy and ultimately provide more value to all players in the ecosystem over the long term. We look forward to the positive effect it should have for the majority of players and the system at large. So, yeah, I think net it probably will be beneficial because it plugs this leak that Crypto Eater here has mentioned. That was obviously an exploit that people could use, which I wish I had really thought about before. But yeah, and the merchant payments, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. The timing thing, I understand the desire to prevent front running. Pluses and minuses. But that is the update from the Splinterlands account. So if we take a look at the SL Giveaways account, let's see, no posts, but let's look at it in Peak Monsters. Let's see, collection. SL Giveaways. All right, so they've got 1,000 cards there at the moment, worth $360. And yeah, so this announcement only went into effect 10 hours ago. So to be fair, this list of Explorer activities by SL Giveaways, only the 2 4 hours ago should really count as far as effectiveness. But it's early, so overall though, crypto is still down. I mean, Steam is at what, 15 cents. There's not many people. There's not many people joining Steam. Steam barely works right now, so I don't think anybody's going to be joining too much at the moment. Part of that is the trend in prices, overall crypto. Bitcoin has been doing its thing, hanging around 7,000, kind of in an upward channel, kind of not. Price of Steam's been sucking, like I said. But Dark Energy Crystals. Now, everybody looks at Dark Energy Crystals on Steam Engine. The problem with that is that everything on Splinterlands is priced in US dollars. So this is the chart in US dollars. So that's from the beginning of Dark Age of Crystals to now. So it's going back, we're coming up on a year in a little bit, but I guess 10 months at this point. So the last little while, last a week or two, it's been on a nice little uptick, but that is well within the downtrend that we've seen since, I don't know, October. Um, this is an Excel sheet, so I can't draw like on a stock chart. But you can see that there's a pretty sustained downward trend. We had the whole flag war, not flag war, Hive civil war, whatever it was, where nothing was working, and we had a big drop in price. We also had that there's a credit card scammer, draw some triangles. Tell you what. Oh, what I can do is I can do it in my little just photo editor. Glad we maxed out our guild during cheap DEC. Yeah, that is a good one. Let's see. There we go. Here's a nice downward channel, and we'll do a Hagin like this. Okay. So, yeah, too much inflation, not enough new players, too many farm bots selling DECs created constant sell pressure. But I think Splinterlands realized they need to increase price to sustain their market model. Yeah, I'm glad you like that, Ron. So, so yeah, I mean the peg is at 001, right? Or peg is in quotes. It's the par value is a better term. That's what you could trade it for packs and things. But obviously, the arbitrage that's available has not been attractive enough to bring it anywhere close to what it needs to be. Basically, it's a 50% discount right now, and yeah, it's going up. If you look on Rafalski's site on the Steam web, where did I put that? Too many tabs. Here we go. So, if we look in booster pack sales, which is down somewhere, cards combined. Did I go past it? Yeah. So this is from SteamWeb PL. You can say that, yeah, packs are being sold, but, let's just kind of chug it along. Not a huge amount. We had a little mini spike when the season ended. In terms of battles, we're staying, steady-ish. And then in active users, active users, this chart is the one I have the least confidence in. I don't know how this is really counted. But that's the chart for all real players, whatever that means. Yeah, it's just on this computer. On my desktop, I didn't have it. I turned it off. But, add some auditory elements. Basically Marky. Hey, I'm still on the air. That makes me better than Marky. Alright, here's another one. So this one's kind of weird. So if you notice that the purplish bars there is tournament entries or entrants, and then black is actual players checked in, and so normally the number of people who registered for a tournament and the number of people who played in the tournament, the people who registered is greater than the people who played. But over the last week or so, that has flipped, and I don't understand how that has worked. Unless it's just some artifact of this tracking system. So it's just weird. I just noticed that and thought people would want to know there. I assume people signed up earlier. Maybe. Does that even work? No. Look at April. April 14th, entrance 276, players checked in 936, and if you go back several days, it's still not enough to account for the number of people who checked in, unless it was on 4/11 on April 11th there was 2677 checked in, and 1,000 played. So if all of those people were checked in multiple days ahead, or April 9th even, I mean, maybe that could be. It's still just a weird. It's a change in behavior, whatever you want to look at it. So, it's just a little point of interest there. Let me actually look at how much time we have here. We got about 10 minutes left. Okay. So, the other thing I wanted to look at was we are creeping up. Those 2,000 packs a day or whatever. We're creeping up on the next. Now Ron's got me thinking about the sound. I'll have to fix that. For check-in, yeah, we're talking about registration versus check-in, Paul. So we got about 30,000 more packs. We're about 70% of the way through the 100,000 pack period to get to the next airdrop. So we had Mimosa, which is actually selling decently well. Let's see if we could pull it up on the market here. Mimosa. I have no idea which one is next, Paul. So we got the Death Legendary Summoner. So we have the other Splinters left. I know for my own submission, it was for the Water Splinter. It'd be nice if we get that one, because I think it's going to be a great summoner. Let's see. Let's look at the month. So yeah, those are selling, and they're going for, let's see, what's the market price? $850 or so. Okay, so that's actually one that I don't have all of the maxed out ones, which I will be rectifying here shortly. In fact, maybe I'll just do that now. Let's see. How many do I have? Let's see. Collections, my collection. Which abilities did I submit for yours? It was like a better version of Ulrich. But I don't know what they're going to actually go with. So as part of the Kickstarter deal, we submitted our like a name, what we think the ability should be, and like a lore entry. But there's no guarantee at all and no feedback at all about whether or not those are going to work, or if they will be accepted or completely changed or anything. So I have no idea what it will actually end up being. But I can tell you it's like Alric, but less like bigger, stronger. So let's see. I've got 3 mimosas. I need 8 more. How much does 8 cost? Let's see. We got 6, 7, 8. $67. Jeez. Do I really want to spend $67? How much is that in Steam? One of the great things about the Peak Monsters market is when you add the stuff to the cart, then it'll actually print out, how much it costs in Steam and SBD and Dark Energy Crystals. And 441 Steam. Well, considering I'm trying to spend my Steam, sure, why not? So let's go over and spend some Steam. Just send $450 over to that account. Bada bing. Transfer successful. Gotta love keychain. Whoops. And 1, 2, 3 should be there. Let's buy that. Boom. Now, go over to profile, make sure everything actually went through. Processing. This is real life how we use, or how I use Peak Monsters. Processing still. Completed. No refunds. Good. That means everything went through. I go back to card collections and refresh. And I got 11. All right. So, there's also Steam World. Yeah, so Hive Keychain has been approved by the Google Store and the Firefox, or whatever they call it. So you can download that without the developer thing, which I have not done yet because I used the developer one, but obviously that doesn't have automatic upgrades and things. So to the point that Crypto Eater was making, it's like, do I combine? It's like, well, I'm one of those whales, so I don't really care. But yes, I'm going to combine because there's actually been a few times where I wanted to use it, and I haven't been able to. So confirm. Not able to confirm transaction at this time, which is normal. I don't know why it's normal, but it is. And there she is. Level 4, 11 XP. And then I just got to delegate that, yes, on Chrome, to my main. Boom. And now I can play with Mimosa when I get that death quest. All right, so, little 5-minute tangent there. In 1 year, Mimosa, a max Mimosa will be $15 for BCX and singles will be 50. So yeah, I mean that might be true. But in the meantime, I get to use Mimosa, so I'm okay. And again, like I said, I'm trying to spend my Steam. So I've been cashing out with power downs, and I got my bag. I got my 1 BTC. Yeah, Fall Inspector with Mimosa is fantastic. I've had that used against me a couple times. Uh, so that's always something to keep in mind. Because, Fall Inspector with Magic Reflect just gets wiped out just right away. But with a little bit of Void, it works, fantastic. In Equalizer. I've only played 1 Equalizer match so far, and that was kind of entertaining. So we'll see how it goes. The other thing I did want to hit on real quick was rentals. So in my last show, I mentioned that I was putting up some rentals in that were all escrow and no daily. So that didn't quite work exactly how I wanted. You can't do 0, but you can do 0.001 for the daily. So basically, what it is let's see. Let's do rented. Is that in order? No. Let's do rental contracts. Yeah, so this is in order. So over the past little while, we've had a few take me up on that offer. And if you look at that, that's really small in Discord, but if you blow it up, or if you look on the live stream, you can see that a few people have taken me up. So the termination escrows are like 36 Steam, 30 Steam, 25 Steam, 49 Steam, and the contract lengths are 30 days. So it's just you pay up front for 1 month, and then if you complete the 30 days, you get half back. And assuming you complete successfully, then the per day price was actually the cheapest on the market at the time. I don't know if that's still the case, but then you're paying 0.001. And the point of all this is to eliminate the volatility risk in renting cards, because a lot of people get stopped out of like, if Steam goes up, then great, you need less Steam per US dollar value. But if Steam goes down, which it has been, then you need more, and you might not have enough in your Peak Monsters account to cover that. So by doing it this way, it's just a one-time payment, not including the 0.001 per day, and then hopefully Steam doesn't crash that much, because then we're all in lots of trouble. So just pay it all at once, and then they have no risk with the currency fluctuations. Just whatever it is at that time, you're good, and that's based on the price feed, which is now 3-hour average instead of a 12-hour average. So early days yet as far as this, and there's not that many of them, but there is some interest. I had another person contact me by direct message, and he wanted to rent one of each of the legendary summoners for betas. And just, but he didn't have enough crypto, so we worked out a deal over PayPal. I made a subscription payment or subscription agreement, and yeah, that's. I mean, it's only been a couple days, but that's working out okay so far. And if anybody wants to do that with me, I would need at least a $10 a month kind of thing to bother, but it could work. It could be another avenue to go, and yeah, so interesting things. I would prefer it if we could have actually a zero daily fee, but is what it is. And yeah, Clay and Cope are coming up next. We are almost at time. Got about a minute left. And yeah, so any other last things I wanted to hit? Nope, that was pretty much it. So we need to get Cope to check his Steam Monsters account. He might be rich. Who knows? They could be like one of those guys who had Bitcoin on a hard drive that got thrown out, and he wants to. There's one guy, like, I forget where it is, but he wanted to dig up the town dump to find his computer, but the town council said no, you can't do that. So anyway, instead of the usual outro music, I'm going to leave you with the Lunar Cycles, new official music for Splinterlands by Azaria. And thank you all for coming out. Always a good time. And thanks especially to Crypto Eater for coming on air for the first time. Kyokiz says zero daily fee is possible, but the front end doesn't support it. Well, I use the front end, so I need the Peak Monsters guys to get to work. Anyway, here's Azaria again.